Coming up next, it's Colorado's number 8 night show. It's Jann Beer Tonight, our 1997 Brew Pub show.
Oh, what is your favorite beer?
I'm a good Irish kid, so it's got to be Guinness.
Guinness, huh? And your least favorite then?
Still is your favorite? I'll have to go with Josh on anything that has a Coors name on it.
Oh yeah? Wow. And your favorite place to drink?
Any place you can sit out on a patio and enjoy a day like this.
Yeah. Great. And memorable drinking story?
That would have to be when I was 18, living in San Diego. We crossed the border to go to Tijuana and did entirely too many tequila poppers. So it can't necessarily be a memorable because I only remember half the night.
True. Most people don't remember their best night.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say my favorite place to drink is in Denver and Boulder.
Either one.
I'd have to say Foundry.
Uh-huh. And what's your favorite beer?
Honey Brown.
Uh-huh.
Dundee's Honey Brown.
Yeah. What's your least favorite?
Stroh's.
Any memorable drinking stories?
No, not that I can think of.
Yeah?
Yes, he does.
How about turning 21?
Actually, we'll ask him about his memorable drinking story here.
I don't remember it. I think that's how bad it is.
Everyone.
Next, we go into Left Hand Brewing Company.
Here's your basic 5-minute beer seminar to give you all the knowledge you need to be dangerous. Beer comes in two major forms, ales and lagers. Most microbreweries are making ales because they're quicker to make, they're a little more full-bodied, and the equipment cost is reduced because you don't have to lager a beer you don't have to store a beer for a long period of time. There's many fewer doing those because it's a higher capital cost to get going in there. Okay. So ales are basically easier to make. They ferment at a higher temperature, and they tend to be fruitier than a lager. Lagers tend to be crisper and clean. What we're doing here, our pale ale, Jackman's Pale Ale. Pale ales are light in color. They're probably one of the closest styles to what people know as a Pilsner style in the ale category. Nice hoppy flavor and finish in those. Nice and crisp. A lot of residual bitterness in a pale ale generally, and the bitterness coming from the hops. Gigi Ginger is basically a flavored pale ale. We add ginger root to a pale ale in place of some of the hops, and it gives it a nice snappiness. So this one doesn't have so much bitterness as much as a ginger snap to it. Okay. On the other end of the spectrum, these three beers are pretty much the same color, pretty close. Motherlode, in contrast to the Jackman's, which would be bitter, is a sweet beer. That's because it accentuates malt. And that is a brewing tradition from Scotland. The Scots thought hops were an English affectation, and being Scots, my last name being Wallace, I did a little research on this. They don't want to add hops because that was what the English were doing, so they left their beers quite a bit sweeter. So you got a sweeter product. Sawtooth Ale is an ESB. And an extra special bitter is actually a subcategory of the pale category. And bitter, ironically, is less bitter than a pale ale. Bitters got their names in England when porters and stouts were really the big styles. Brewing technology being a little sketchy back then, the beers tended to be very, very dark, very thick and heavy, very strong. And when bitters appeared on the scene where they were a bit lighter, a little more hoppy character to them, they called them bitters. Pale ales, IPAs, American ambers are all styles of beer that are much more bitter than your average ESB. Porter is a several hundred-year-old style of beer. Accentuates some roasted malt. We use a chocolate malt in ours, and it's a nice dark beer. Has a nice body to it. Very drinkable. Not quite as roasty toasty as a stout would be.
And porters almost died out, you said?
Porters basically in this country died out for quite a long time, and it's only recently that there's been a revival in porter styles.
Talk about the difference between people that drink, microbrew or brew pub beer like yours, or this type of beer as compared to the folks who drink Budweiser and Coors and all that. So it's a generational thing that's happening?
Well, a lot of it's a generational thing. And Budweiser is built an incredible market presence, 44% of the American beer market, and an entire generation. With World War II, the advent of packaged beer in terms of cans and bottles, the mobility that Americans saw increasing through military and travel and businesses starting to go national rather than regional really led to the demise overall of draft beer and going to your local pub to drink a beer. People were looking for national brands that they recognized, and that's when the big boys, Schlitz, Pabst, Bud, Miller, Coors, that's when these guys really took the thing in hand. They had the economic power to get to these economies of scale and go national. So the older generation grew up with that mindset, so they're drinking a lot of these national brands. The younger generation, for some reason, has latched on to basically a more traditional beer that existed at the time of our forefathers when revolution was underway and in the 1800s. These are more of the styles that people were drinking back then.
Here are our Ace bottling guys, packaging up our third double batch of the Triple Xmas Ale for the season. This little machine is a Maheen 4-head filler. It's a counter pressure fill, so basically it's filling into the bottle after they've been pressurized with carbon dioxide to reduce oxygen and extend the shelf life and make sure that the beer tastes better when it goes down your throat.
All right, what's your favorite beer?
MGD.
And what's your least favorite?
Budweiser.
Why?
Oh, man! Because they always got that after can taste in it.
Yeah.
You taste the can after you drink some of it.
How about your...
Let's add a button on this thing.
And where's your favorite place to drink?
Champion Brewing Company.
Is that here in Denver?
Yes, it's right on Lima Square.
Yeah.
1442 Lima Square.
Okay, and
Great place to hang out, too.
He also works there, by the way.
tell me a memorable drinking story.
A memorable drinking story? No, I can't tell that. It can't be aired, bro. Can't be aired out.
All right. How about you? What's your favorite beer?
Gina.
Gino, you're up next, buddy.
Gino, hey, I'm Gino, man. What's up?
Nice to meet you.
My favorite beer would probably be, probably an import, Goldschlager with the flip top. It's good stuff, man.
Great. And what's your least favorite?
Coors.
Coors. Any Coors?
I'm sorry?
Any Coors?
Any Coors. Coors, Light, Coors, Sewers, Coors. It's all Sewers to me, you know? Coors. Coors just got too much aftertaste. You go to the bathroom a lot, what have you.
It's got taste?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a bad taste. It's terrible.
It's like urine, huh?
Well, I wouldn't say that on TV, but it tastes terrible.
You guys haven't tasted natural light, huh?
Where's one of your most favorite places to drink?
My favorite place to drink, Champion Brewing Company.
Yeah?
1442 Larimer.
You work there too?
Yeah, I work there too, but not.
Well, we're back at Estes Park Brewery for our Best Brewery Show. Erica Schreck is the rep giving us a tour today. Erica, this place has changed dramatically since we were here last year.
Yeah, it definitely has. Definitely.
What have you done since we visited last time?
Oh gosh, from a year ago, we've definitely added several more different beers to our process. We've added our Stinger Honey Wheat. I don't know were you guys here last year with the blueberry when the blueberry came out?
It just came out.
We added our Stinger Wild Honey Wheat this past May, and we also brought in a holiday porter, which we brought out last year for a Christmas beer, and we brought it out again this year. We're just going to keep that as a seasonal. We also made last year a fall beer, which Stout, which was named after Samson, the elk that was poached up here in Estes. It's correct. That's correct.
Samson Stout, really?
Yeah, and half the proceeds do go to Operation Game Theft, and so it goes for a good cause and everything. And it has been quite the first-class beer. Tim, he's one of our assistants here in the brewery.
Yep. So tell us, Tim, a little bit how the beer's made.
Okay, we start with our oats and barleys up on top up there.
Yep.
We bring them down through this auger to the mash tun, where we bring them up to about 180 degrees. We brew for about 2 hours. Okay, then we go into the next tub over here, the wort,
Yep.
and it whirlpools in there and it takes the impurities out, and it brings it up to a boil. Okay, then this blue box down here is a heat exchanger. And we cool it back down to 70 degrees before we put it over here in the aging vats. And then it'll sit in here from 10 days to 2 weeks, depending on the flavor and the amount of alcohol we want in it.
How much beer can you put in one of these vats?
Those are approximately 15 barrel vats. Let's see, that's about 150 cases.
So what are you making today?
Today we were doing Renegade.
Renegade
doing the
beer.
Renegade.
Just in one vat, is that right?
Well, we put it in one, and we won't bottle it for another 2 weeks, maybe 3.
Okay.
Because after it comes out of the aging vats, then we'll put it in here and let it carbonate and bring the temperature down to about 32 or 33 degrees for bottling. And then after that, after it comes out here, this is our bottling machine. After we bottle it, it goes directly to the coolers, and we keep it at about between 33 and 35.
So, hey, Erica, how many cases of beer are you guys selling a week or a year here now compared to what you were doing last year?
Oh, God. Probably, well, in the slow season, it's not very many. It's probably only like 500 or so. But in the summertime, we were cruising right along this past summer with about 3,000 to 4,000 cases a month.
Well, we did 5,000 in August and July.
What were we doing last year? Do you remember?
Not even close to that amount.
No, we were doing about 600 cases a month. So we've more than tripled.
It's really, you guys have grown. Thanks a lot, Erica and Tim here at the Estes Park Brewery.
My favorite type of beer?
I like Corona.
Corona? Uh-huh.
I don't like root beers. Of course, I'm drinking one, but I don't like it.
What's your favorite place to drink?
Home.
Yeah? And what's your least favorite beer?
I probably don't have a least favorite.
Yeah?
They all taste the same pretty much.
Let's see. Now, what's your most memorable drinking story?
Probably the fact that with my age, you were able to drink when you were 18. It was a legal age. So we used to sneak out of the house and go drinking beer, have caters. Only 18. It was legal.
And where are you from?
Denver, native.
All right, so what's your name?
Mary Jo.
And what's your favorite place to drink?
Oh, the Rock Bottom, of course.
What's your favorite beer?
Well, I kind of like this, I have to see what it is. Oh yes, the Falcon Pale Ale.
Great, and what's your least favorite beer?
The real dark, bitter ones.
Yeah. And what's your most memorable drinking story?
My most memorable drinking story, whoa. Oh dear, can I say that on television?
Sure.
It would be St. Patrick's Day in Pueblo at the Irish pub.
Yeah, what happened?
Once a year you'd see all your old friends and it would be wall-to-wall people and you just sort of move around for a few hours, you know.
I see.
It was a good time.
Great.
My husband Jeff and I started New Belgium in the basement of our house in 1991. We had specifically built this space for a brewery. We designed and built all of our own equipment. We were there for 14 months, and then when we decided we had more beer in the living room than furniture, it was obviously time to move. So we moved to a railroad depot just south of our current location. We were there for 3 years. And then we moved into this building in November of 1995. So, yeah, that's right.
This place is spectacular. Can you talk a little bit about the building?
Yeah, we worked really closely with our builder and designer in trying to get a look described as prairie industrial. We really felt like it was important to add value to the community and do something really interesting looking, not just a corrugated metal. The name for Fat Tire actually came from a mountain bike trip that my husband Jeff took in 1985. As I'm sure all of the people in Colorado know, Fat Tire is a nickname for a mountain bike. He took this trip and he tasted a beer that he really liked and decided to make it as a home brewer. When we decided to become a commercial craft brewery, we thought that we would go ahead and use that name because we liked it. Lots of people said we were crazy, but I guess it's all history now. Fat Tire is an amber ale. It's well balanced with a variety of specialty malts, and it's hopped with dry hops in the fermentation vessel, but it's not so hoppy to be considered a Northwestern style hoppy beer. It's much. This is our Abbey Belgian style ale. It has won 2 gold medals, one in 1993 and one in 1990. Recently coming out with Abbey Beer Festival, and it won a bronze in 1995. We are just recently coming out with Abbey and which we're really excited about. This is really more of an esoteric beer that a more well-refined or developed beer drinker's palate would find extremely interesting. Abbey has a really complex flavor that is made up in part from the variety of malts that we use, and then more because we use a Belgian yeast strain, that all of the flavor that you get from the Abbey, or all of the clovey, banana-y, estery flavors come from a yeast strain that we've maintained here at the brewery since we began in our basement in 1991. We try to we have a real commitment to our community side of the company. Every employee at a year gets a bicycle as their year anniversary present. Bicycle? It's a cruiser bike with the big balloon tires. There's actually some out in the bike rack because lots of our people, even on a snowy day, bike to work. So, and we do a lot of fun. We take a lot of trips together and have a lot of meals together. We spend a significant amount of time with our co-workers. In 1996, we anticipate that we'll do approximately 58,000 barrels. In 1991, when we started, we would have done a yearly equivalent of 400 barrels. To give you a kind of a perspective, we do that before lunch here with our new brew house.
400 barrels in your apartment?
In the basement of our house. So in this new building, we really had the opportunity to choose gold standard equipment. We have a brew house, which is the premier brew house manufacturer in the world, and because of the time that we ordered it, we were able to take advantage of some new technology, which makes our lauter tun one of the 3 most advanced lauter tuns in the United States. We also bought a Crohn's line, a state-of-the-art kegging line, so we have that makes beer as best as beer can be, and we have staff that supplement that, and really we feel like we've nailed a gold standard quality.
And what's your favorite beer?
Right now, the Stout.
What's your least favorite beer?
Light beer.
Light beer?
Yeah, any kind of light beer.
And what's one of your most memorable drinking stories?
Too many of them to say.
Where's your favorite place to drink?
Everywhere downtown. Denver.
Yeah?
Yes.
And what's your favorite beer?
Everywhere. Shit, I don't know. What's my favorite beer?
Allowed to curse.
I don't know. Something, not too weedy, not too heavy. Since it's a close St. Patrick's Day, I'll have, Guinness sounds good.
Yeah.
This is kind of a Guinness crowd, too.
Yeah. What's your least favorite beer?
I don't think I have a lease.
The one without alcohol?
Yeah.
O'Doul's.
O'Doul's or Hockenbeck.
Anything without alcohol.
Were you clearing your throat, or was that?
No, that's how you say it.
Oh, okay. And how about a memorable drinking story?
He has them better than I do.
Yeah?
Josh, tell him about your birthday. Come on.
No, I didn't drink any beer on my birthday. It was all tequila. It was all tequila.
Yeah. So what's your favorite beer?
Fat Tire, hands down.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Great. And least favorite?
It's gotta be Coors Light.
Yeah.
Anything with the Coors name on it, it's gotta be bad.
You know his favorite beer is Busch Light. I was lying. His favorite beer is Busch Light.
like that. Yes, of course I can. Alright, I like Budweiser. I like Busch.
That's a sick beer.
Where's your favorite place to drink?
Rock Bottom, it's gotta be.
Hi, I'm Paul from the Odell Brewery. Welcome to the Odell Brewing Company. Our original building was 8,000 square feet. When we decided to bottle, we added another 10,500 square feet. That houses the bottling line itself and the warehouse to support the bottling line, the bottles, the caps, the labels, the glue, all of the type of things that we didn't have to deal with before strictly in draft. We just had to do kegs before. The main reason we started bottling was because of the demand from our distributors and off-premise liquor stores, retailers wanting to sell our product. Before, we were only available on-premise, which means bars and restaurants. You can only get the beer to consume there. If an individual wanted to come and have our product at home, for instance, they had to come to the brewery, and if you live, say, in Denver or Boulder and you wanted to have our beer at home for a dinner party or something, you had to come up here to get it. So we decided that it was time to start offering our product in bottles. We wanted to make sure that we had very competent equipment to bottle it with, so we bought a line that is guaranteed not to let any oxygen into the bottles, so it will have a good shelf life.
You bought a what?
A bottling line. The line itself that we fill the bottles with, it does a double vacuum on the bottles, so there's no oxygen left in there. Oxygen is one of the main things that you can get into your beer that you'll have problems with down the line.
My name is Phil Frazier. I'm the lead brewer here at Odell Brewing Company. This is the 90 Shilling. This won an award in 1992 at the Great American Beer Fest in the Amber category. It's a full-bodied ale, well hopped with Cascade hops. It's got a floral taste, aroma.
What's the history of it? How did this beer get invented?
This beer was developed by the brewmaster, Doug Odell. And he's got a lot of experience with formulating recipes, and this is currently our best-selling beer.
Now, what does that mean when you win an award? When you win the best, the beer festival award?
The Great American Beer Festival is a blind tasting. You decide which category you would like your beer to compete in, and you put it in that particular area. The 90 Shilling is kind of a hybrid beer, so we go back and forth as to what category it should be in specifically, but it's kind of a cross between a Scottish ale and a pale ale.
Well, what's your name?
Brandon Fournier.
Oh yeah? And what's your favorite beer?
Probably the Honey Brown.
Yeah. What are you drinking now?
It's something like that.
Okay.
Wheat, a honey wheat or something.
Yeah. And how about your least favorite beer?
That's a tough one. I like most beer, so.
Yeah. Okay. How about your favorite place to visit? Best brew pub? Or?
I'm not from around here, so.
Yeah. Well, so what brought you here to Rock Bottom?
Just in town on vacation, did some skiing, and now I'm flying back out of Denver.
Yeah. Looked like a good place to stop and have a beer, huh?
Yeah.
How about a memorable drinking story?
I'm with him. I can't think of any offhand.
Yeah. Probably your 21st birthday or something like that?
Well, that was a good one. I got carried home, slept in the bathroom floor. That was a good one.
Yeah. Great. All right, well, thanks, guys.
Gina Day is the president and CEO of Rockies Brewing right here in Boulder, and we are in the Rockies pub in front of There used to be Boulder Beer, You guys took it over, they went broke, and you turned it into a multi-million-dollar operation. This is the success story of 1996 in the microbrew business. Number one this year, 6.2 million, from 0 to 6.2 million.
Basically, when we took over the company, it had, I think, lost sight of management and focus, and so when we came in, and also they originally were all over the country, so what we did is had to focus on Colorado and focus on the product here, and we started tasting the product and realizing there's a lot of old product and actually bad product out there. So we started doing some quality control procedures. My background's medical technology, and that's what actually my degree is in. And so you are very much in tune with quality control. That's your whole position as a medical technologist, is quality control. So when we noticed that the brands weren't off and you'd get some bad batches and whatever, we took some time and we set up a quality control procedure. We found where the problems were and then corrected it. This is our brew house. We have a 50-barrel mash tun and a 50-barrel brew kettle next to it.
Look at all these gauges.
Don't touch those. This is our production area. We have our fermentation platform here and our bottling line over here. We have 200-barrel fermenters, which was a big plus for us. That means we can brew 4 batches in our brew house and put it all in one fermentation tank.
What's going on here?
We're brewing our seasonal, our Igloo Ale, our winter beer. So we're bottling that today.
Okay, can you name the beers that you have out?
Yeah. We have, of the Boulder beer brand, we have Extra Pale Ale, the Amber, Stout, Porter, and Brown, Boulder Brown. And then we have Premium Ale, and we have Gold.
Now, can you talk about those? What are the differences in them?
Well, obviously it's a different mixture of the malted barley and the hops and the different creations that David's come up with and fine-tuned. The Extra Pale Ale is on the maltier side, and the Amber has a little more hops to it. I don't know how specific you want to get.
Sure, get specific. People, I mean, you know, as specific as you want to know. You were the lab person.
And then the brown tends to be on the maltier side, a sweeter maltier product, and the porter is a very smooth porter. It's excellent. We've won a lot of actually gold and silver medals at the GABF with our products, so we're proud
Great
of that.
American Beer Festival.
What's your favorite beer?
Jumping on this list.
Pale Ale. Yeah? Is that what you're drinking now?
Yes.
Yeah? And what's your least favorite beer?
Probably anything real light, like golden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a problem with that.
Too bad that's golden right there.
It is kind
Minor problem with that.
a bit darker.
Have you visited many places in Boulder?
A couple, yes. I recommend St. James. Yeah, St. James.
Yeah, you have no idea. Cut it out.
How about you? What's your favorite beer?
Probably St. Adams.
Yeah.
Not from around here, but
Which St. Adams?
the regular deal, like Boston Ale. It's good stuff. It's great.
How about your least favorite?
Least favorite beer is probably Bud Light Dry Ice. How's that? That's good.
HC Burger is a premium beer. It's primarily a German beer. It's here in Fort Collins. It's an expensive beer. It's won a lot of awards. We're going to talk with Bob and Peter Davidoff. Did I get it right?
You got it right.
Expensive. Why is the beer expensive?
Well, we got 2 lines of beer. Our chocolate stout, the Raz, the Indigo, that a lot of people have known for 5 years is the same price as everybody else. But my brother and I decided to brew an upscale line of beer, a very quality line of beer to go with fine dining experiences. And that's this line here, the Doppelbock, the Maibach. Why are they expensive? A Bock can take us 6 months to make. And we can turn 13 other beers in that tank in that 6 months. And
That's part of why it's expensive. That and the ingredients.
Let's talk about the Bock beer. What is a Bock beer? And so it's almost like a wine, right?
It's almost like a wine, maybe more like a sherry. It's a sipping beer. I like them at midnight, wrapped up in a blanket. It's a very
It's not what I like at midnight, wrapped up in a blanket, I'll tell you, but...
you can share. You can share.
Yeah, it's true.
The Bock beer started in Einbeck, Germany. They were a beer created by the monks in the monastery during Lent. It's almost a loaf of bread in there. There's a malt. It's a very sugary wort that comes out of the brew, and then it mellows for a very long time.
You leave it in the tanks for 6 months?
4 to 6 months, depending on which Bock.
And you only do two brews a year?
2 Bocks a year. We do a Mai Bock, which is the May Bock. That is the last of the Bock beers traditionally comes out. Days are getting warm, the nights are getting cool, so you still need a warming beer at night. The Doppelbock's a double Bock, and it too is a warming beer. We release that in October, November, and that's a great winter beer.
How many bottles or barrels do you brew a year of the Bock?
The Bock, of each Bock, we do only about 180 cases, and they're numbered, and we're now getting reservations for the next brew.
It's in reservations. It's in a wine rack here. So what does this cost a bottle? I mean, to buy it at the liquor store.
The liquor store is about $4.99 to $5.99. At a fine restaurant, it's probably $8 to $10 a bottle.
$8 to $10.
That was the American wheat, a crisp American wheat. The next one is a golden ale, our Colorado Golden, which finishes with a slight fruity palate. One of the things you should see as Bob starts pouring these beers out is all the colors. We're really pleased. It makes a wonderful presentation.
This one is?
Indigo Pale is a German alt, one of the smoothest beers we make, great with pasta. Absolutely phenomenal with pasta. One of the things the brewery pushes too is how to pair the food and the beer. It's pretty much like wine. Next is our red ale, the Red Banshee ale. Indigo and Red Banshee are signature beers for the brewery. The new signature beer is the chocolate stout.
Look at that, it looks delicious, doesn't it?
It's
yikes! Huh?
Yeah.
It's what now?
Hard to do with one eye. I could miss the glass. You guys have perception.
That's the red one, and then of course our chocolate stout, which is, we can't keep it in stock. We run out of this beer every week.
Now, how can people be assured that the quality of the beer here at HC is the same now as before when you guys bought it?
That's our brewers. Our brewers, our filter people, the whole staff help ensure that.
You kept them.
The best thing we got, we kept. They're glad to be here.
They kept you. Yeah.
They kept us. The most important thing we make is beer. And we make a quality beer. It's won awards. The Bock, for example, what we talked about, is placed in the top 10 of 300 Bocks in the world. The wheat beer has won a prize at the Great American Beer Festival. Our Dunkel won a prize at Colorado State.
Where's the Dunkel?
The Dunkel is right here.
Okay. So won a prize at Colorado State.
And so did the Maibach. The chocolate stout has been winning awards in all the little bar and tavern competitions. That beer used to be brewed once every 3 weeks. We're now making close to 100 barrels a week.
What's your name?
My name's Colleen.
What's your favorite beer?
Well, my favorite beer is a beer they serve here.
Which one?
Like the pale ale.
Pale ale? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what's your least favorite beer?
None. I love them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite place to visit?
The Seychelles Islands.
Okay. They have a good brew pub there?
Yeah, really good.
How about a memorable drinking story?
Oh boy, there's so many. I'd have to say, gosh, I'm trying to think. Last night.
So what happened? What happened?
Well, just had a really good time with all my friends and celebrated our birthdays and drank a lot of beer.
All right. Thanks. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How about you?
I'll switch right over to the most memorable story. And we had been in this high-rise in Denver. It was where we were drinking on the ground floor, and there was 3 of us. And we went up to the 20th floor, I believe it was, and we were rather inebriated, and we went out on the ledge, and there was this powerful wind that was coming up. And one guy said, boy, this wind is so powerful, I could just jump off, and the wind would throw me right back on the ledge. And I said, whoa, don't do that. And he says, no, they'll be fine. And he jumps off the ledge, and the wind blows him right back up onto the ledge. And like we're both amazed. And I said, well, don't do that again. And the other guy said, no, go ahead, let's see. So he jumps off the ledge again, and the wind blows him right back up. And we were both amazed. And the other guy says, and he's pretty drunk, and he says, well, let me do it too. And I said, don't do it. And he jumps off, and he fell to his death. You might have read about it in the Rocky Mountain News. But I went back into the bar, and I was like stunned, depressed. The bartender says, I know, that Superman can be a real jerk when he's been drinking.
Here at Breckenridge Brewery for our 1996 Best Brews in Colorado with Rashawn Gwen. Thanks for having us back.
No problem.
Tell us a story, Breckenridge Brewery.
Well, what do you want to know?
Everything. Start from the beginning.
We started in 1990 in Breckenridge. Our founder was Richard Squire, and he was a ski bum who'd been skiing in Alta, Utah, and he moved to Breckenridge for a winter season and decided to brew his home brews in Breckenridge and start a brew pub.
This place, Breckenridge Brewery, is the hallucination of a ski bum come into reality.
Exactly. It came to fruition through Richard Squire. He's the man behind everything. He founded it in 1990, hit capacity, which is 3,500 barrels in Breckenridge, and decided to expand. Found this Blake Street facility in Denver and opened up in Denver in 1993. And we've been growing ever since. And he hasn't looked back.
You had a fire this year. Everybody saw it on the news.
We didn't have a fire though.
No, you didn't.
The neighbors did.
They had one, and everything's fine here?
Yes, we had no problems. It was close.
Did it get warm in here?
The telephone pole out back got completely, it's a cinder block now. It looks like it got torched, but we evacuated and nothing happened. We were fine.
Right next to Coors Field, you've been down, how long have you been down here at this location?
93, before Coors Field.
Since 93. Okay. And how's it going now?
Great. It couldn't be a better location. They're starting to grow north lower downtown, and during the baseball season it's crazy in here with all the home games and stuff, so things are going well.
And your brewery you're expanding, you're selling beer all over the United States, you're opening up more breweries. Can we talk about that?
Yes, we are opening up brew pubs. A couple a year was what we're slated for. We just opened up Birmingham, Alabama a couple weeks ago. And we will be opening up Tucson, Arizona, middle of January. And we distribute our beer in approximately 30 to 35 states right now. We are all across the United States. We have a Buffalo brewery that provides the East Coast with our beer. And we have another facility in Denver which provides 12-ounce bottles and kegs to the West Coast. Our mountain wheat won the 1995 gold medal in the Great American Beer Festival. That's our best prize so far to date. And it is a spicy wheat. It is filtered, and it is a very light beer in color. This is Avalanche. It is a 1996 silver medal winner at the World Beer Championships in Chicago. It is an amber ale, which means it's a red beer, and although it is darker in color, it is our lightest beer in taste, and it is our most popular beer. Now this is oatmeal stout, and this is our dark beer. And it is a very popular beer for people who like heavier beers.
If you want it, you can have it for breakfast instead of oatmeal.
Exactly, or coffee. It has a coffee chocolatey aroma to it, and it's just a heavier, darker, more full-bodied beer.
How you doing, Jann? Well, Jann, I get that question a lot about what is your favorite beer, and my answer is always the one that Michael Jackson gives. It's the one I'm drinking at the moment. I have a favorite style of beers, and it's kind of changed through the years. It's gone from lighter to darker, and I think that's pretty traditional with most people who drink micro beers. I don't drink every kind of micro beer, although it seems like it sometimes. My least favorite, I guess, is probably wheat beers, which really have no flavor at all, and that's why they put lemon in it, so you think you're getting something. My most memorable beer drinking thing, Jann, well, I guess it was the first time I met Michael Jackson, not the entertainer, the beer guy. And we went into a local bar to have a beer, and the bartender listed off maybe 10 or 15 beers. And at the end, Michael said, "Nothing drinkable." And we finally ended up drinking a Killian's, which was as close as we could come to real beer.
What's one of your favorite places to visit?
As far as places to drink, I think probably the Wynkoop is my favorite. First place, it's of course the oldest one here in Denver, and it's got a nice atmosphere. It's a place where you can go and sit and chat and enjoy the beer and rarely ever see a fight.
Boulder native Dave Adams opened BJ's Pizza, Grill, and Brewery right here in Boulder. He invited us into the new opening. We're going to talk about beer on our best brew pubs in Colorado. This place also rates. Dave, thanks for having us come by, visit with you today.
Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about BJ's and how you got started, and just why you came, back to Boulder to open this.
Well, we saw an available spot on the Pearl Street Mall here, and decided that this would be an ideal place for our location, for our new brewery and pizza and grill.
Okay. You have some. Let's start with the pizza. You've got award-winning pizza. Can you talk about that?
It's a deep dish Chicago-style pizza, specially designed oven. We cook it in, and we go through actually a three-step process as far as working with our dough. So it comes out a very light dough, yet has a very neat, crisp. Jan, this is our head brewer, Bob Hesser.
Bob?
We call him Boulder Bob.
Boulder Bob. Okay, tell us about the beers that you've invented and brewed up here, Bob.
The first beer we have at BJ's is one of the basic five. Is the Blonde. It's a Kolsch style, developed in Germany. It's a German ale, very clean, very crisp, with a nice soft finish. The next would be the Piranha Pale Ale, a American style pale ale, with a very distinctive hop flavor and aroma. Has a nice crisp bitterness. This is our Bavarian Hefeweizen, called Harvest Hefeweizen. It's a true German wheat beer with all the cloviness and esters that you would normally find in that style. Next to that, we have the Red, which is a silver medal winner at the 1996 Great American Beer Festival for strong ales. The next one in the lineup is a PM Porter, a robust style porter, common to the English porters, very chocolatey with a roasted finish, and it complements spicy food very well. Also, which isn't shown here, are going to be 4 to 5 specialty beers brewed by myself, which will be seasonal specialties that you'll see rotated in and out constantly. And along with these, we also have a specialty Belgian beer list, which includes 25 specialty Belgian ales that you will find anywhere else in Colorado, not in the adjoining states. This is our 10-barrel copper-clad brew house, gas-fired kettle, a regular mash tun, and a hot liquor tank along with the grain hopper up above. Behind the bar here is where the beer is actually stored and served out of our tap handles down the bar. It's their 10-barrel serving tanks. We have 8 of them, along with capabilities to keg off some of the beer for other taps. Upstairs, which you don't see also, is our 6 10-barrel fermenters, and that brings us to a total annual capacity of about 1,000 barrels a year.
So, okay, what's your favorite beer here?
The Wallace Ale.
Wallace Ale?
Yeah.
That's it right there? And how many have you had today?
One.
One, all right. That's good. Only one. Then do you guys have a favorite beer? You work here, right?
Yes, actually my favorite would be the Jeremiah Red.
Why?
Why? Well, it's very, very fine tasting. It has a sweet end taste, and it has a pretty color.
Ask the bartender. You will get a true answer. So, do you have a favorite beer, or do you not drink?
I don't drink.
What is your favorite?
Probably the pale ale one.
Pale ale and.
I like the blonde.
You like the blonde?
BJ's blonde.
BJ's blonde. Okay. And
this is the red. It's quite tasty.
Talking with Larry Moss here, the general manager at the Bottom Brewery in Denver.
Curtis.
Is this a brewery, brew pub? What is it?
Actually, we're a restaurant that brews its own beer. We have fantastic food, and we brew a lot of great beer.
How long have you been here? How long is Rock?
In November, it'll be 4 years. November of 1991.
How many beers, how many cases or kegs of beer do you put out a year? Do you sell?
We sell about 4,000 barrels a year.
Is that a lot?
Yeah.
I mean, is this place big? I mean, I know it's big. Because there are a lot of people in here. It's crowded. But
we sell a lot of beer, but we also sell a lot of food. We have a reputation built on our food and selling really, really great beer.
Friday afternoon here at the Bottom, you'll see it's Well, it's not totally wild in here, but it's full for sure.
Yeah, it's still early. The patio outside, the on our side, and the patio's full.
Yep.
Okay, here's our brewmaster, our head brewer, Jerry Klum, and I have to give him credit for the great beer.
Jerry, thanks for taking some time. And you want to point out some of the beers to us, what we have here?
Sure. The first beer we'll talk about is our Rockies Premium Draft. That's our lightest beer. It's our lightest embodied beer. It's got a really nice spicy finish to it. It seems to be very popular among new beer drinkers.
It's a new beer, huh?
No? It's not a new beer. All these beers we've had since we've opened.
Is this
all 5.
Oh, really? You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
The second beer here is our Falcon Pale Ale. That's styled after a British style bitter. It's a really nice balanced beer between the malts and the hops. It's probably our second best seller. The third beer is our Red Rocks.
Yeah.
That's modeled after an Irish amber. And that's probably the most popular beer here. We go through about 2.5 barrels of that a day. The fourth beer is our Molly's Titanic Brown Ale. That's our English brown ale, and it's got a really nice chocolatey finish to it. And then we have our Sweet Stout over here on the end, that's the classic stout, and we don't sell too much of that, or that goes for the heavier beer drinkers. The room you see in the back is our brew house. That's where all the beer is actually made. It's a one-day process. We brew 500 gallons a day, 250 gallons at a time, so we brew twice a day. What you see in the background is our mash tun, where the grain is added to water, and that's where we get all of our sugars from. And we take that sugar water and we put it into the kettle closest to us, which would be our boiling kettle. In the boiling kettle is where we'll add hops. The room we see up above the bar is our fermentation area. We have 8 fermenters. That's where we take the sweet water from the boiling kettle and we transfer it up to the fermenters. In the fermenters, the yeast eats the sugar and it makes the alcohol and the carbon dioxide for our beers. Okay. One nice aspect about our beers, I think what separates us from most breweries, is our beers cater to everybody. The stout is drank by a whole range of people. We don't overpower any of our beers, and it makes them really appealing to all types of people, the new beer drinker and the person who's been into the microbrewery business for years.
Thanks, Jerry.
Charlie, I'm from New Jersey. I'm out here for my brother's wedding. And we don't have pubs like this back in New Jersey. We don't have small breweries like this. If you're looking for my least favorite beer, it'd have to be Anheuser Busch Light, natural light, like water. My favorite beer, I like Red Wolf, but these aren't bad. They're all pretty tasty. Favorite drinking story? I don't remember.
I've heard that one a lot, actually. Talking with Carol Schauer, she's the general manager here at the New Denver Chop House, part of our best breweries, microbreweries, and brew pubs in Denver. Thanks for having us come by.
Thanks for coming.
Visit with you. This is an amazing place we're about to look at.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. We love it.
1930s. You make your own beer here, too.
Yes, 7 beers. Jan, I'd like you to meet Scott O'Hearn. He's our brewmaster. I'm sorry.
She keeps apologizing. No, go ahead.
But I stumbled on his name.
Good.
I'd like you to meet Scott O'Hearn. He's our brewmaster at the Chop House.
Scott, this is a big facility, isn't it, or is it?
This is our fermenting area. We have 7 fermenters. They're 24-barrel fermenters. We have a 12-barrel brew kettle. We do 2 batches go into 1 fermenter, which is a way most breweries keep their beer somewhat consistent.
Fermentation vessel number 1. Huge.
This is, we have in here our brown ale, and we carry seven different beers, ranging from a light golden ale to all the way to a stout. It has a kind of a hint of an oatmeal flavor to it.
Ooh, oatmeal beer, just what I always wanted. No, I'm sure it's great. Is it? We'll try some here.
We'll try them all.
Yeah.
The lightest one is what we call a premium mild. And from that we move to what's called a pale ale. Those beers are probably your basic American beers, very palatable. This beer is called a honey wheat, and it's an unfiltered wheat beer, and we flavor it with a lemon wedge. It's one of our most popular ones right now. We have an extra special bitter, which is brand new. We just got that up in the past couple of weeks. It's a little more bitter, has a little stronger aftertaste than the lighter beers.
This is it right here?
And then we have a red wing, which is your red beer, very similar to a lot of
Which
red
one
beer.
is that?
This one right here. We have a nut brown, which is a nut brown ale. This is a little heavier beer, but it's very, very palatable. There's no bite to it. It's very smooth. And then the heaviest of our beers is a stout, and it's an oatmeal stout. So it has a full-bodied flavor.
Now, do you have any award? Well, you haven't been open long enough.
2.5 months. No award, not yet. Give us a little time. We do allow cigar smoking at the bar at the Chop House. So
what's the story with cigars? Tell us about the cigar box.
well, we kind of thought that cigars were in keeping with the motif of the restaurant and the time period. So we have a nice high-quality humidor, and we offer a good selection of cigars, about 4 to 5. And we have state-of-the-art air filtration systems so that we try and keep it as manageable for non-cigar smokers as cigar smokers. So you can't enjoy a cigar at the bar at the Chop House. The photo there is a colorized print, probably taken from about the mid-30s. And the Chop House is in the Union Pacific Railroad building, which was a freight railroad station.
All of these pictures are they're phenomenal. This one over here is amazing, the one with the conductor.
Yeah, all the decor is very 1930s, 1940s. Our music is reminiscent of that time frame. And the photo next to that was donated to us. It actually has original menus from the railroad station.
Jann Scott, thank you very much for having me on your show. This is Jim Burris, managing editor of the Boulder Planet, and your show on brew pubs in the Boulder and Denver area seems like a great idea. And to that list, I would like to just say that there are a couple of brew pubs that I find exceptional in town. The new Redfish is quite a place. Brian Lutz is an excellent brewer there and does a great job. Hails from Left Hand Brewery out in Longmont and is doing a fine job with the ales there. And Mountain Sun is a great place to hang out. Good music, good food, and excellent beer as well. They just got done with Stout month in February and have some seasonal brews coming up this summer that are worth checking out. As far as favorite beers in town, I'd probably have to step outside of those two brew pubs and mention a perennial favorite of mine, which is the Capstone ESB from Oasis. I think they do a great job with that, and I also like the Stout over at the Walnut Street Brewery, very good as well. My least favorite beer, it's hard to trash a beer, but if I have to pick one that I really just don't ever drink, it's probably one of the light beers, Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light. Just have no desire for flavorless, colorless, tasteless beer. I'd rather drink water than have something like that. You know how that is, or used to know how that is the case may be. As far as my most memorable drinking story, I'd have to say that it was spending an evening and well into the early morning at Hunter Thompson's place in Woody Creek up near Aspen. It was quite an evening with a good doctor. Showed me around the homestead. Offered to do some discharge of firearms on his property, which I declined, given the fact that had been imbibing, but had a very memorable evening there, and that's probably one of the ones that will stand out in my mind. Other than that, congratulations with your show, and hope to see how this comes out. Thank you.
Well, back with Roy Emmons, ladies and gentlemen, at the Walnut Brewery. We visited him last year during our best restaurants in Boulder. Now we're doing our best brew pubs and microbreweries. He is the master brewer. Thanks for having us come by here on a busy, look at this place, pan this restaurant, Pete. It is unbelievable in here today. Friday night, totally packed. Let's go through the beers. What are we looking at?
Well,
show us your award-winning beer first.
Well, actually, a couple of our beers have won awards. The Old Elk has won a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival. This is this right here. The Bitter has also won a silver, and a couple of the seasonal beers have also won awards at one time or another. But we make 6 different beers here. This is the Devil's Thumb Stout, Old Elk Brown Ale, the James Irish Red, the Bighorn Bitter, the Buffalo Gold, the
Union Peaks Pale Ale and the Pilsner. I was confused there, but we got both of these very light. This is our seasonal beer right now. It's a European-style Pilsner beer.
Can you tell us about them a little bit?
Well, it's a lager beer. We don't make many lagers here, usually just in the spring and fall. So it's cold fermented, and it takes a bit more time to condition. And it's got a very nice crisp flavor, very light, very nice summer beer.
Susan Ralston's the general manager here at Walnut Brewery.
How are you today?
Thank you for having us come by. I am great.
Great.
She's always so happy to see us. You know, she was so excited when she knew that we were coming. She was jumping up and down and going, "Jann's coming back! Yes! Get out the beer."
Excitement of my day.
Now, I want to ask you, how many barrels of beer do you guys sell a year?
Roughly about 2,150 barrels.
2,150 barrels a year?
Yes.
2,000. Are you the oldest brew pub in Boulder?
Yes, we are. We are the first brew pub in Boulder. We opened in May of 1990.
I mean, things have exploded since you guys opened this place.
Yeah, they have. There's 3 additional brew pubs in the Boulder area, and then there's Rockies Brewing, which is the oldest microbrewery in the nation, which is also here in Boulder. And Colorado, they're now calling the Napa Valley of the beer industry, just because of all the breweries out around here.
Which is your favorite?
Of the beers?
Yeah.
I particularly like the James Irish Red.
Which one is that?
The James would be right here.
And why? I mean,
I just think it's really drinkable. When I started here, I wasn't much of a beer drinker, so I'm kind of progressing my way through the from light to dark. So I'm about midstream right now. But it's I just think it's really drinkable and not too overly hoppy or anything. It just kind of suits me real well.
What's the most popular beer at the Walnut Brewery that people drink?
The most popular beer still is the Buffalo Gold. That beer is distributed through the state, so you can get it at your local liquor store. Little plug. Then the James Irish Red would be the second most popular beer.
Well, I'm going to let you go back to work. You're in the kitchen tonight, plus both the general manager, she's the chef here too, a very working person, Susan Ralston here at Walnut Brewery. Thanks, Susan, for taking a couple minutes out and visiting with us on our best breweries and brew pubs in Colorado.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and what's your favorite beer?
Pale Ale.
Pale Ale. Why? Is it?
It's got the best flavor. It's light.
Yeah. What's your your least favorite beer?
Wynkoop. Here or
anywhere?
Anywhere. It's got to be the Stout over at Champions.
Well, it's interesting because those guys work over there. They're really playing it up.
Say that.
And what's a memorable drinking story?
I don't remember most of them.
Yeah, that's a common answer.
Yeah.